Good afternoon or morning. It's morning for me, but it could be afternoon or even evening for you. This is a round one of groups match between AmazingAmpharos and imhughbliss. My co-commentator will be here shortly. Had a quick something to take care of, but for now you just get me, Freddie, and we're looking to get started here in just a minute or two. This match should be pretty interesting. It is I believe it is a 2 versus 3 matchup. Yes, AmazingAmpharos was 2, so I know because I could dodge him. And it should be both these runners are pretty solid, as are really almost everyone in that made the top 128 of the qualifiers that just wrapped up last weekend. So this should be a wonderful time. I'm looking forward to seeing the differences between where these guys start. I think I have an idea for one of them at least. For those just joining us, we have recently gone from the qualifying round, which was everyone that was signed up to potentially qualify for the tournament. Joined at least 5 of 16 different races that wrapped up last week. I guess 2 weekends ago now, roughly. But and from there, the top 128 of the roughly 250-ish, 300 participants qualified to join the group stage, where we did a group reveal yesterday, 2 days ago. Today's Monday, so yeah, 2 days ago. And it looks like my co-commentator has joined me. How are you doing today?
Great. I'm pretty excited for this race. How about you?
Oh, yeah. I was just telling them about how we just made it to the group stage from the qualifier stage and all that.
Did you tell them about how closely matched these two opponents are?
I did say it would be a good match because I know these two are pretty good, as is everyone.
Yeah, but this in particular, I was looking at how they did in the qualifiers. They were about a quarter of a point apart, all told, 3 seeds apart, but it put them just on opposite sides of the cutoff between the second quartile and the third quartile, so they were able to be matched up against each other.
Well, that's right. They were that close, weren't they? So this should be super close. And we get alternate starts, but the same. So it looks like Hugh gives us our first check. It looked like there was a pendant down on Desert, and the other 2 were Crystal. And once again in open, we see pretty split starts here. There's a few different ways of approaching the start of a open seed, and it seems like people are still very torn on which one is. Looks like we get some magic from our tree pulls, though.
Yeah, I was just about to say they both tried tree pulls in different places, and it is a very nice tree pull.
Ooh, that's a glove off the uncle. That's a potential early advantage for Hugh.
And what do you know, Lumberjack's vanilla?
Just a piece of heart. Okay, so it looks like Hugh is going to go from Uncle up to this north area. Or up to
It's too bad he doesn't have bombs, or we could have seen a very early back of escape check.
It's true. Talking about bombs, we aren't seeing many bombs yet.
Well, there's some arrows, and Ampharos doesn't even want them.
Can't say that I blame him. There's an early lamp. So it's looking like logical Death Mountain access is pretty early here.
Yeah, they only have 2 items that they can actually claim on Death Mountain, the Old Man and Inside Spectacle Rock, but could be progression there given, oh, well, you were saying about bombs.
So the 4 tree pull was bombs, nice.
And I was just going to say that I was looking over how they each did in the quals. They never actually participated in the same qual The ones Ampharos participated in tended to be longer seeds, and the one Hugh participated in tended to be shorter seeds. So it'll be interesting to see if that plays out here, if Hugh has an advantage in shorter seeds and Ampharos has an advantage in longer seeds.
I'd like to say that it's just coincidence, but you never know. There's some rupees.
Plenty of money to pay the bottle vendor. And if Hugh doesn't get bombs from a tree pull by then, he will have plenty to buy bombs too.
Unfortunately, you'd have to double dip the blind set to do that. Though he has enough right now to buy them, so he should be good.
And it looks like he is in fact going to buy bombs. Nope, he's checking the tavern first just in case.
Yeah, I might have bombs themselves. Nope, has a Merle. Yeah, well has bombs though.
Well, also has the hook shot.
Now we have Paradox Cave in logic.
That we do. And good old Spiral Cave without the boots.
Everyone's favorite.
And a really bum deal from the bottle vendor today.
Bombs for bombs in the chicken hut. So to Hugh, the seed is going to be screaming go up to Death Mountain as soon as possible. Ampharos, it might depend on how long it takes him to get to... Because he has a pretty good weapon for Mini Moldorm Cave right now.
Yeah, the hookshot is very nice to get early when you don't have other weapons for Mini Moldorm.
And we're also a hammer or another glove away from Dark World access.
Okay, nothing in the library today.
Bloomerang on the race game, it looked like.
And Ampharos is like, no way.
Not quite worth it.
Especially when you already have the hookshot.
Yep.
So Ampharos is indeed giving us the south side checks.
Be interesting to see if Hammer's down here or up on Death Mountain. Or the second glove upgrade for that matter.
And let's see where Hugh goes after he discovers there's nothing in South CAC.
I would love to see a Death Mountain jaunt at this point from him.
Yeah, as you said, the seed really is screaming Death Mountain at this point.
I got a sword on the dam.
So the south side checks are kind of worthwhile too.
Might be a little soggy, have some seaweed on it, but it'll work.
Which also means we are either a cape or another sword upgrade away from Aga.
That is also true. Looks like Hugh is going to the sanctuary, but I would imagine he's going to check the escape first. Yep.
Yep.
And there's the hammer in Mini Moldorm Cave.
So I think that pretty well kills Aga, doesn't it?
Aga is pretty much donezo, yes.
As long as, you know, Ampharos finds the glove and Hugh finds the hammer.
It will be hard for either of them to miss it.
And Hugh, having gotten a key in the back of Escape, is going to go through this way to get to Dark Cross.
Yeah, with Lamp, it's in logic. May as well. Gonna get that out of the way, as well as Ice Rod Cave. I was gonna say, I don't think that was close enough. We're gonna get them both about simultaneously, too. 20 rupees and another bottle.
Well, Ampharos has built up a considerable bottle lead now.
Looks like Hugh is indeed going to go to South Shore before Death Mountain.
So the interesting question then is, once he sees Dark World access, is he going to go straight for the Dark World, or is he gonna do Death Mountain anyway?
There is definitely a lot of, at least Light World Death Mountain available. In fact, almost all of it.
And Ampharos now has his Dark World access.
We might see him finish Escape, though, first.
Oh yeah, that hammer also makes Tower of Hera accessible, and with the lamp we know it's full clearable.
Yep. Can even Harapot with a hookshot in hand.
And Ampharos is going to give us our first look at the front of Escape. There are 3 chests here, and since we've already seen the key in the map, we know all 3 need to contain items.
Wonder if Hugh will take his Dark World access and go straight, or go to Ice Rod Cave.
Nothing in that first Escape chest.
Looks like he is indeed heading that way.
And with all that money, I wonder if Hugh will try fake flippering to Zora.
Without a way to get the ledge item, I doubt it. Especially with so much more available to do.
Okay, we see a Fisher Price shield in the second chest of Escape.
Then again, it looks like you're right. If he doesn't get grabbed.
Yeah, those things are dangerous with Green Mail. Oh, and there's our Master Sword.
He'll do Aka if you really want to do.
If you just really want that portal. What do we have on the island today?
Ooh.
Bombos.
That's a spicy item there. Potentially ice will affect this.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least they know where to find it. Or Hugh does.
Hobo hiding his chain. While Ampharos retreads the back of Escape, so he has that fully cleared. Now this is a bit of a risk from Hugh because he is not able to get the item on the lead if it is something useful, so he'll have to run back here to get it, but he will have that knowledge.
Let out the bee and see what the fairy gives us today.
think it's a fairy. There we go.
I'll take that over a B. Just have to be careful if you're death warping.
It's like just a vanilla piece of heart on that ledge there.
And what's 500 bucks gonna buy us today?
20 rupees. Probably. Oh, never mind.
Something that's actually worth 500 bucks.
I'll take a flute for 500 rupees.
And where's... Oh, Ampharos is going to check Sick Kid, while Hugh can both check Sick Kid and activate the flute at the same time.
Yep, he's probably heading to Dark World off of this as well. Shovel.
Here's a fetch quest for your fetch quest.
What's next? The shovel having the mushroom?
Or since we have the hammer, the shovel could have the powder, and Magic Bat could give us the mushroom.
Indeed. Okay, so it looks like they're both going to follow each other to Dark World. The main differences right now is Ampharos went down Escape and got a Master Sword, while Hugh fake flippered over to Zora area and got a...
Though the flute itself was in logic, because with the glove you could take the long walk to Zora.
Yep.
Oh, and he's not even going to check Sick Kid.
Looks like red or pendants were Turtle Rock and Swamp Palace, I do believe.
And it looks like our tracker is telling us that the red crystals were Skullwoods and Ice Palace.
Those are very interesting pendants, though. Mirror is technically not required, but we know Bombos is on that island from Hugh. Also, Hugh actually fluted over to back to instead of going to Village of Outcasts, and gets his Master Sword.
Okay, so it'll be Oh, and there's the mirror, so...
You know what that opens up?
Oh,
wait, never mind. We don't have flippers.
yeah, we don't have
Ignore me.
flippers. Unless you want to do a lot of splash deletion just to get into Swamp.
I'll pass on that one, thanks.
But no, Ampharos will almost certainly make it to Hype Cave and get Tempered Sword. It's a more interesting question whether Hugh will ever go back to the front of Escape and get his Tempered Sword.
He'll be able to do these a bit more efficiently, though, since he'll be able to check South of Grove. Oh, and there's the mitts on Stumpy, as always.
But he didn't get the shovel from Sick Kid, so he can't do the double check there.
That's a fair point. Wait, he went and got his flute and didn't do the shovel, huh?
Yeah, I was kind of puzzled by that.
Well, that South of Grove isn't anything else.
But in fairness, sometimes you can have blinders on. You're like, ooh, flute, and you totally forget that you got bottles since you were last in Kakariko.
Yep, that's fair. Worst case, hopefully he'll remember and mirror there at some point. But then he'll have to run back for the shovel anyway.
With the newfound Titan's Mitts, Hugh will be able to work straight up into Village of Outcasts from here.
Yep. Opens up the Smith Chain, the Hammer Pay. Blue Mail, I guess, apparently is on the digging game.
Not a bad thing to find when you only have 6 hearts. Or in Ampharos' case, 4. Oh, what is Hugh doing now? Oh.
He's checking himself Mire area with his newfound mitts and flute. It's the next logical progression. Makes sense. I think he's rightfully thinking that he has an advantage with the flute and wants to try to press it. Which can go either way, actually, honestly. Ooh,
Yeah, well,
there's that Pompos.
Well, so flippers have to show up sooner or later.
Yep.
Again, though, information Hugh has that Ampharos does not have.
Indeed. I have not been counting items in Thieves Town, but he does have the key, so I'll probably be checking the big chest here.
Yeah, I haven't been counting items either, but I think we still have some. So Hugh's now working through Pendant Desert. And
No
it is
boots.
not boots locked.
Yep. Green Pendant Desert, even.
All right, so the potential for 3 items if you include the one on Sahasrala.
Which neither runner has been to yet.
And yeah, so far Thieves Town has just given us a whole lot of junk. But it's a crystal, so it's not a waste of time, and go moding Thieves Town doesn't really save you much because you still have to bomb the floor and rescue Blind.
Okay. Got 1 item out of Desert so far from Hugh. It was just a piece of heart. Very nice 4 heart blind from Ampharos there. Got a little sketchy, but successfully has done his first crystal. Did you see what was out of the big chest in?
Just bombs.
Okay, so that's both items, but so just the green pendant left out of there. If he wants to do it, which maybe not.
Yeah, going all the way to Landmos just to see what's on Sahasrala, and given his low health, he is going to be getting this full heart.
Looks like Ampharos is going to continue his way through Village of Outcasts here.
You giving us the last overworld check in the desert area.
And there's a bug net hiding in the brewery. That's how they make it. Catch bugs. Better we find out how the sick kid got sick.
Probably is like how they do things like that.
Alternatively, that's how the sick kid got sick. He's in the dark world. Looks like Hugh remembered his shovel.
And Ampharos should wind up in the location around the same time, though he'll have to double back since the mirror was in Hype Cave.
Yep. So neither of them are going to check it first try. What's the odds of it having something useful now?
Well, I feel like Hype Cave is close enough. Once Ampharos gets the mirror, he'll probably double back and do Shovel and Cave 45.
Maybe. He'll get that mirror too, so. Or he'll get the mitts as well, I should say. Which could lead him any number of places.
Oh, he's not going to Hype Cave.
I think he's going to grab the blacksmith, actually. And or hammer pegs?
Which is interesting because Smith Chain, of course, is Much easier with the mirror, and he doesn't know how close the mirror is.
Yeah, he's probably gonna run back too.
I didn't catch what old man had, but I'm assuming it was nothing useful. Red meringue, I see that marked on the tracker now.
Red meringue was out of something before that, which I can't remember, but something. There is a blue cane though up on top of the spectacle rock. Oh yeah, the Meyer closet, that's what it was.
And he's going to go up and get it now that he has that mirror to go up.
Opens up Spike Cave as a possibility.
Turns out Shovel was a dead end there.
So Ampharos is going to do the long way on the Smith chain here.
And then he's going to get the mirror and feel kind of silly.
Unfortunately so. He's probably going to go back to Dark World and get the purple chest and hammer pegs out of the way. Meanwhile, Hugh is up on Hera.
And that piece of heart from the Smiths finally gives Ampharos his 5th heart container.
He's at least one waiting for him over at Hype Game.
Yeah, the problem with hookshotting over to the big chest like that, if you don't have the boots, is you have to either bomb jump back or take the fall, and Hugh decides to take the fall.
Yeah, it's probably both roughly the same amount of time.
But that does give us our first item in Hera, so if Moldorm gives us the second item, we won't have to worry about the basement.
Indeed. And Ampharos is indeed run back to the hammer pegs and purple chest.
Three Master Sword spins to do in Moldorm. And there we go. Do we get an item?
Nope. We have a basement item.
Now the question is, does Hugh go for it?
The way he's been running, I'm going to say no. But I've been consistently wrong, so they probably will.
You were right the first time.
Dang it. But yeah, he has all of East Death Mountain to check here. And I guess technically you can see what the Turtle Rock Medallion is, but neither of our runners are hoping to have to go in.
Oh, and poor Ampharos has no flute and no mirrors, so he is just taking the long route to Gary. And all for some bombs.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt him in the long run. Especially if Hugh never finds a need to do it.
And now Ampharos is going to go to Hype Cave and feel a little bit silly.
Yep, be interested to see where he goes from there. Interesting that we have not seen the bow yet, and while there's a pretty high chance it's up on Death Mountain here with Hugh, it could just be sitting in like Ganon's tower, or both upgrades could be sitting in Ganon's tower and EP or Poddux themselves.
Could be in Sahasrah's closet. Neither of our runners has been there.
Could also be in Sahasrah's closet, yep. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ampharos go up and get his flute off of this, though, because he'll have the mirror and can run into Pyramid and Catfish.
Or
And
for
then
that
we are
matter...
over for Zora.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
I was just going to say, for that matter, Sahasrara himself could have the bow, which would be kind of annoying.
Yeah, well, hopefully we aren't in that darkest timeline yet. Looks like he is going to go back and do Cave 45. I just always call it south of Grove. Whichever cave it is. Fortune not going to see much, though there's not anything in Paradox Cave yet either. Oh, there's a red cane. Nothing.
Yeah, and that's kind of necessary with Meyer being a crystal.
Yeah. But until we see those flippers, Meyer is still not actually accessible.
And now Hugh is going to show a Super Bunny. And he has the hookshot, so we can get everything out of Hookshot Cave.
I think we might be seeing Ampharos do the long run up to Death Mountain here. So we'll be working on a second crystal and all these checks as well, which is not actually amounting to much. We've only really gotten both canes.
Yeah, that's a lot of checks for one necessary item and one useful item.
And that necessary item doesn't really open up anything because still need flippers. There's a mushroom. That could be unfortunate for Ampharos since... Oh, there's our flippers then. Okay, so now we have Mire access. And Ice Palace access. And
the boots.
Okay, so apparently there was a bunch of stuff on the mountain. It was just all in Hookshot Cave.
But yes, we now have the ability to complete Meyer.
I think that was Quake.
That looked like Quake, yeah. It was very fast, though.
I think we might be getting a Spike Cave check here.
Well, he was thinking maybe that's what the blue cane was pointing him to.
Or maybe just a basement of Hera. And it looks like Hera basement, actually.
Or maybe both.
Or maybe both. Very interesting call considering how much he has available to him now.
Samaria does make the coffee break easier.
Indeed. Yeah, that, so right now the biggest difference maker in this run has been the fake flipper gamble by... We got him a in-logic flute, and also got him knowledge of the Bombos medallion, which is turning out to be very significant. He also got a bit of an advantage by going to Hype Cave first.
Yeah, hopefully once Ampharos gets the flippers up here, he'll decide to do Zora.
It'll open up Ice Palace for him as well. Assuming he well, he doesn't know that, but it will.
That is true.
Didn't like his positioning there. That one looks a little bit better.
And it's okay, he gets his bombs back.
Yep. Very convenient. Hugh might run out of magic here. Does he have... Oh, no, he got the fairy, though, so it's okay. And it was just a piece of heart anyway.
Yeah, unfortunate, two very annoying checks both turned up pieces of heart.
swiping a spin for Ampharos, and Moldorm 1 is down. So
Ooh, we're now
some...
going to see
Okay.
King's Tomb over on Hugh's side.
Another piece of heart.
What do you think's in Bonk Rocks? A vanilla piece of heart, maybe?
20 rupees.
Oh, sure, be contrarian.
Nope, it was bombs. Dang it. So we are still missing the bow, the fire rod, and that's actually technically it for go mode.
Yeah, we just have no clue where either of them are, and they could be quite a hassle to get.
Indeed.
I mean, the in-logic bow could technically still be on PED.
That is truly the darkest timeline.
It is also the only hope for anything useful on PED.
Yep, that is correct. If one is in Death Mountain, one on pedestal. Or not Death Mountain, Ganon's Tower.
Or bow locked.
Or bow locked, yeah. Like Armos or something, yeah.
I've certainly seen in version 31 enough times where there's been like a bow locked bow in pod.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Bow and vanilla EP, I like the call at this point. Okay, so we got Hugh finally doing his Thieves Town run, which is not going to do much, but at least he can do it with Boot. Oop, and Ambrose missed the bomb jump.
But Ampharos will go up to Super Bunny Cave, hopefully be happy with what Hype Cave gives him. Not Hype Cave, Hookshot Cave.
Hookshot Hype Cave.
But yeah, I think after Hugh finishes Thieves Town here, Ice Palace and Meyer should be on his itinerary after grabbing Bombos.
I'd imagine so, yeah. I'd be interested to see where Ampharos goes after he gets his flippers. He doesn't have a whole lot else to check, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him do the boots checks and then head to Lake Hylia. And then immediately get out of, or save and quit, and go to the Dark World to get his bomb.
And then there are always a few annoying checks like Graveyard Ledge.
Yep, we haven't seen Graveyard Ledge yet, and it's been thoroughly orphaned by Hugh. Looks like Ampharos didn't even want to check Turtle Rock. Unless he did it and I forgot.
I don't think he did. I think he went straight to Hookshot Cave when he came up to Super Bunny.
Can't say I blame him. Ooh, I think he might be doing Bonk Rocks and Mushroom. And heck, he might even finish running to Zora from Witch's Hut. That would be some interesting rooting. Also, interestingly, we haven't seen Pyramid or Catfish yet. Or really any of the east side outside of Zora area itself. and Ice Rod Cave, but Flute was on King Zora. So Ampharos is missing that currently, and is now going... Oh, he must be doing the full loop, including Catfish and Graveyard Ledge, or he's going up... Never mind. I'm going to stop guessing.
What do the credits say when Flute's on Zora? Like sweet melodies for sale or something?
Something like that, yeah. Well, let's see if we get some of our Fire Rod in Skullwoods fun. Would hardly be the first. I feel like there's a key there a lot now.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I think that first chest in Skullwoods is a key more often than not, with the recent change to the drop-down not being a guaranteed key.
I was just going to say there are so many items that if they're in their vanilla locations, they can be a real pain. Fire Rod, Hookshot, Bow, Samaria.
So we got one item and one more, well, two more if there's a big catchy key, but he's just gonna, he's happy with the one check.
Even though he has Can of Samaria, so it would have been a relatively quick thing to check middle Skullwoods. And Hugh now evens up the crystal count.
Yep. My guess is that Ampharos is feeling a little behind. Ooh, it looks like Hugh is going to waste some time with the blacksmith check.
But Ampharos is going to show us Graveyard Ledge.
Yep, that could be big. And I still think there's a good chance he heads over to Witch's Hut and Zora area after.
Entirely possible. And at least Hugh had boots to do hammer pegs the fast way.
Yep. Well, there's the last bottle. The third one, for those that missed it, was in the Spectral Rock. Yeah, I keep forgetting the name to Spectral Rock for some reason.
And yeah, free blue goo is always a nice thing to find.
Indeed. I think Hugh has a green, a blue, and a fairy at this point, so he's fairly well. Looks like we're gonna get a fake powder check as well. That could be interesting. So this is a bit of a glitch that was found where if you use up all your magic and then try to use the cane, and at the same time swap back to the mushroom, it treats it like you used the powder because of something magical with the code.
Yeah, you can also use it to powder anti-fairies, which is something you see very occasionally.
Indeed. Just a piece of heart again, though. That's happening a lot for you this seed. Talking about a piece of heart.
So both the mushroom and mushroom for fake powder give pieces of heart, so didn't really help anyone.
A lot of just random out of the way places that give pieces of heart in this seed. Or bombs.
Now the interesting question is, after Ampharos does Catfish and Zora, is he going to use the Whirlpool, go down and check Hobo, and then see what's on Hylia Island?
Knowing him, I call that a decent possibility, but he may just save and quit out and run there from Link's house as well. Whoa, bucko. Well, now he has two blues and the fairy. Okay, so Ampharos is going to get his flute and probably be not super happy about it. While Hugh is actually still not going to go get Bombos and do dungeons. He's going to go do a... He'll get
But
his
that
tempered out
tempered
of it.
sword is, yeah.
Sorry.
It's not going to be a total waste.
Yeah, that falls under more an interesting call than anything for me. Actually, Ampharos might just go activate his flute instead of running or doing Hobo's.
Yeah, he can always just flute to 8 after that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's also interesting. For a while, it really seemed like Hugh was in the lead because he had more items, but I'd say Ampharos is caught up now.
Yeah, at this point, Hugh has checked a lot of off locations that just haven't paid off. So he does definitely, I believe, still have an advantage on what he's checked compared to Ampharos. If Ampharos never checks them, then that disappears as an advantage.
He also has the knowledge that Bombos is on Lake Hylia Island and Bombos is required for Meyer.
Indeed. Though he hasn't really pressed that advantage like he did the Meyer check. And Ampharos will likely soon get that knowledge himself.
I guess because Ice Palace and Meyer are so annoying, Hugh figures, well, if he can get the Fire Rod or bow here and open up other possibilities.
Yeah, that's one way of thinking about it. You don't want to have to full clear Ice Palace or even Meyer if you don't have to. I think he was about to go into Meyer, then realized he didn't have the Bombo.
So where's he going now?
I think Shovel. I don't think he'd ever did Shovel.
I was just realizing that as you said it.
Okay, looks like Ampharos is still going to continue also doing some extra check.
Yeah, that might give Hugh a bit of a leg up.
Be interesting to see if he kills the Moldorms, though. Or not Moldorms, Landmolus.
Yeah, and we still haven't seen Saucerless Closet.
Indeed. Fire Rod and Saucerless Closet the entire time? Never know.
I mean, I've seen seeds where, like, Hookshot was on Aegina the whole time, and all of the runners last locationed it.
Yeah. Those are always my favorite. Alright, so Hughes is getting his Bombos. Is he going to continue his plan to go to Meyer or just head to Ice? Looks like Ice is...
It is right there.
I think we'll see Fire Rod out of here, personally.
It's got 3 items and a whole lot of pain and suffering. Oh, and Ampharos is going to get the green pendant.
Yep. That will be interesting. I wonder if he's planning on heading over to that area next.
I mean, with the flute, it's just a quick flute to 5.
There's potentially quite a few items you can get to in both Pod and Eastern.
Meanwhile, we're going to have to wait a while before we see any items in Ice Palace because the compass chest had the map and all of the other chests are pretty deep. Ampharos makes pretty short work of Lanmo with the Tempered Sword. So yeah, now I am curious. There are 4 checks in Sahasrahla. Is there progression?
I mean, you don't do this if you're not planning on heading over there pretty quickly, right? Oh, man, he gambled on the big chest not having enough, which I think is actually the best 50-50 gamble you can do, because you don't really lose much time when you have the mirror. Like,
he was having a bit of trouble with this bomb jump, which, since he's gone a full clear it and he has the cape, it's not as essential as it is if you're trying to go mode Ice Palace or if you don't have the cane.
Yep. No, he made it this time. There we go. Got a good spin glide on the penguins there from Hugh. Can always appreciate a good one of those. Ampharos deciding he doesn't want that heart out of the thing the checkerboard gave.
Well, he's a bit healthier than Hugh was at the time.
True. Okay, we're getting close to seeing our first items out of Ice Palace, hopefully. Theoretically.
And Ampharos is not going to Sahasrara.
He could still be. He might...
Oh, changed his mind. And our first item in Ice was just a bloopy, by the way.
I think he was about to go to Dark World so he could just do a blind check for both Hobo and the island there, and then decided against it, and now it's going to have to do it anyway. So I saw 100 rupees and 5 rupees out of Ice Palace, so I don't know what the third item was, though.
I don't think we've seen the third item.
I meant that right side third item, but yeah.
Oh, no, the third thing on the right side was the compass.
So this is the big key, yep.
Which conveniently means we can immediately check the big chest. And if there's an item here, we won't need to go to Iced Tea. No item.
Looks like Ampharos is indeed going to at least go to Sasha's closet. Looks like he's not going to do pod and EP. Since he knows he has a couple more dungeons now with that Bombos knowledge. Nothing from Green Pendant.
That's fortunate for Hugh, because that could have totally changed the game otherwise.
Ooh, the fire rod was in the back the whole time. Told you it could happen.
So, yeah, we'll see how long it takes Hugh to get over there.
Looks like Ampharos is going to go straight to Skullwood. I bet he thinks he's further behind from that one than he actually is.
And without the bow, neither runner's in go mode, so they can't skip checks in like Meyer.
That opens up Pyramid Fairy as well, interestingly enough.
Once someone's done both Skull and Ice.
Ice didn't have anything, though, just rupees.
Well, I meant in terms of Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah. But Ampharos knows that he has access to both now.
Yeah.
Finishing both.
And no one actually checked the pyramid itself, did they?
Nope. Neither of them have been to Pyramid yet.
That would be kind of silly if the bow's sitting on the pyramid the whole time.
That would be just like how the seat has gone for both of our runners, I'd say. With where the fire rod is. Ooh. Almost too late on that, or too early on that spin for Cold Stare. Oh no! He is up fairy though, it's fine. was about to be like, no, he just died to... No, never mind.
Yeah, he needs to be more careful, though. Okay, he's got 2 of them.
Yeah, I'll be fine. He also has 2 blue potions, worst case.
And that key on Cold Stare means that Ice Palace was in fact logically Samaria locked.
Indeed. Let's see. So we had a compass in the big key chest. In Skullwoods. Is Hugh gonna go do Mire now? Yes, he is.
Which, depending where the bow is, could be a good thing or a bad thing, because if Ampharos goes to Mire in Go mode and it winds up being a God Mire, that can be quite a difference.
Well, we have a big key on Mothula, so last item's either on the other chest back there or the big chest, which is always annoying.
And Hugh demonstrating why toss a bird when you can just roast it.
Oh, did you already check the other one? You must have already checked it. He didn't check it? Interesting.
The big chest? Or the hallway chest in the back?
Hallway chest in the back.
Oh. Well, it turned out the big chest had the second item anyway.
It might logically have to be an item in the big chest with, which meant a key would have to be in that chest. I don't know if a key can be in the big chest. No, it can. I've seen keys there before.
But not if the big key was on Mothula like it was.
Ah, that's fair. Ooh, we did have a God Mire by the way.
Yeah.
Who's ready for both bows just being in Swamp Path every time?
Well, he was definitely not looking to do the left side of Mire if he can help it.
Just checking the lobby chest. That's a relatively standard.
But is he going to risk the vanilla big key chest? When he still has big chest and map chest.
Probably.
Yeah, it looks it. If it's bow, this is amazing. If not, it's a colossal waste of time.
I mean, that's pretty much Mire in a nutshell, really. All this running around for 2 checks, basically. Looks like Empress is indeed doing Ice Palace next. That might lead him to the Pyramid Fairy now. Oh, there was an item on there. Big key chip.
Yeah, just a bit of a time waste. Other than, since he's not in go mode, he would have gone there anyway. Which also means that if Ampharos winds up going to Mire looking for the bow, he'll wind up down there too. You know,
Looks like we do need the second item still here, though.
yeah, the bow could always be someplace horrendous, like left side swamp.
Indeed it could.
And Myers junk.
Indeed it is.
Though all things considered, since we're just getting to the hour mark, the runners are still in reasonably good shape.
Yeah, all depends on where that bow ends up landing.
I guess Ampharos' advantage in Meyer will be if he happens to know spooky action glitch, he can use it. Do you know offhand whether he knows it?
I don't.
Now, Hugh needs to watch his health. He does not have powder for powdering anti-fairies, and Vitreous can be a bit brutal. He does have a blue potion, so probably burn his strats, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah. If you just, or you might just know spin speed strats. That was a good dodge strat there, though. Gotta be a little careful here, because if he does actually take damage, he'll die. Oh.
He should be fine for the rest of the fight now.
He should be good now. I believe it's
Deadly
like
game of
16
ping
swipes
pong
here.
here. I think so. He might have gotten a hit or two in with the cane, because when the big eyeball opens, if you happen to be up there using the cane, you can still inflict damage on it. So where will Hugh go now?
That is the question. He might start heading over to Potty P area himself. He hasn't done Skullwoods or Graveyard Ledge yet, so that might be what he's doing here.
Yeah, I'm guessing he'll do the front of Skull, which unfortunately will be a full clear because there's only one item there.
Interestingly, we haven't seen the book yet either.
Though, given desert access, that really only opens up 2 tablets and tells us what's on the ped.
Wouldn't that be a son of a gun, though, if it was both bows on tap?
Or a bow on ped and a bow on a tablet or something.
I'm imagining some weird circumstances we come to where they both check different tablets at the same time and they both drop both. I would find that hilarious, personally.
Or, you know, we could have a book on ped and bows on both tablets. Nothing stopping that from happening.
That's also true, yeah. That truly would be the darkest timeline. Uh-oh, Emperor's having a bit of a problem with Cold Stare. I don't think he has a fairy either, so...
Oh, well, he's down to 1 puff.
Actually, I don't think that would have hurt him, but still. Never fear, we haven't found an ice rod yet, so Turtle Rock or Quake for that matter.
So Hugh is fortunately not going to bother with the middle section of Skull Woods.
He already checked it.
He'll check. No, he's not going to bother. I was just saying he's going to check Bumper Ledge here, discover it's nothing.
I'm pretty sure he checked it before he did the front.
Oh, did he? In which case I missed it.
I could be wrong, but pretty sure. Okay, so he's getting these checks out of the way.
And
they are tied up again on crystals.
Oh, and Ampharos is going to get the big bomb.
Indeed he is. Could be very interesting.
Hugh's taking the blue goo since he used his last blue goo on Biddy. Oh, and he hasn't checked Catfish yet, has he?
Nope. That's where he's heading now, I'd say. These guys are people after my own heart, honest. Never check EP and pod without bow.
And don't check pyramid without big bomb access.
Apparently not. I do that more often, but I'm always preferred the never checking EP pod area unless you have the bow or their pendants.
Well, turns out the bow wasn't sitting on pyramid all along.
Nope. Wasn't in the pyramid though. And also nope. Going along with the rest of the theme of this seed. Except for Zora. It's like Hugh's gonna circle around to that himself. While Ampharos is gonna go do Mire. So they're both gonna full clear Mire and Ice Spell. Both of which were not required, it turns out. And at this point, I think it has to be Pod and EP that have the items. Or Swamp.
Let us not speak of such things.
I like to, when it's a pendant, I just like can block it out of my mind as a possibility. Like, it doesn't exist. It's
So since we know Bo is not in Mire, Ampharos won't get to take advantage of the God Mire either.
Nope. Which is quite a waste of time in this seed too. Because it's big key chest and right side basically is the two items.
Yeah. I'm just impressed how even they are for all this.
I mean, at this point, they've all cleared everything, so...
But with you having
very
mirrored here, he might finally do an Eastern pod dip.
Depends on if he gets his fire rod and just goes straight to Skull Woods.
Not too happy about that fire rod.
Indeed. Nope, looks like he's going to commit to the pod EP play. So I guess we'll find out pretty shortly if it's Swamp Palace or not.
Well, at least since he's now in bow mode, if pod is bow locked, he knows it's not in here.
Yep.
Or at least the logically required one isn't in here.
Well, that takes care of that. Wisely dips straight out, and nope, straight out of pod.
Yeah, the question is, what if the logically required bow is in a painful place and the second bow is now bow locked in pod?
You know, Bow and EP is not confirmed. It could be in, or it could be there's like a book or something in here and it's in on a tab. But the bow and big chest collars are looking pretty strong right.
I'd be fine with a vanilla bow.
I wouldn't, just out of principle. It's the worst.
Well, you don't like going into Eastern without a bow, you admit it.
Exactly. I have lost game matches to that.
If they find a vanilla bow in here, you have to do bowless Eastern in your match later today. I'm just saying.
I will do maybe such thing if it's a pendant. I try to avoid confirmation bias, okay? It's one item. Just some rupees.
Here's the big one.
Just a piece of heart. Okay. It could be right side though, so we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, is the third item in the vanilla big key chest, or is the third item on Armos and inaccessible? And Ampharos finally finding that annoying 10 arrows in the map chest.
And either way, is it the bow? Gotta get Quake out of the swamp too. I'm still hoping that we find Quake and Ice Rod in swamp and then have to do blind ped. Yeah, it's on Armos. So it was not EP and pod, which means it is swamp, has something. And Hugh knows it and is not happy.
And,
well, almost.
You know, he can beat Skull, and he doesn't know that that last item is tucked away in the big chest and worthless, so we're probably going to see some full clearing here.
Yeah, he does have to do Skull first, which has, of course, the item in the big chest. So now, next it'll depend on if Ampharos keeps avoiding Eastern and Pod, or does that before, which is honestly a really hard call.
But yeah, I think we agreed that since Mothula can't hold a small key, if Mothula is holding a big key, then the big chest can't hold a small key. So
and since they've found both dungeon items, it can't hold another dungeon.
Right,
so, yeah,
so hopefully Hugh will work through the logic like Ampharos did.
Ampharos doing sword slash method for Vitreous.
A bit slower, but it does mean you don't have to burn a blue potion.
Yeah, a slightly more efficient method of doing the eyeball. So we're going to get, both of our runners are going to get their 5th crystals at roughly the same time.
And Swamp basically has to have progression. We just have to hope that Hugh doesn't now go for the green crystal trying to avoid Swamp at all costs. Green pendant, sorry.
Yeah, he does, and he also has a pyramid that he'll probably check first, possibly check first. Okay, where is Ampharos going? He is going to pod and EP. Oh, no, never mind. Looked like he went to 5. So Ampharos will be the first one in Swamp. Like I said, it's a hard call because while EP and Pod could have it, it could also be a bunch of looking for nothing and double.
And unfortunately, Hugh didn't know the key logic for Skull Woods.
Yeah. Okay, are we gonna get the easy out and it's just a bow and swamp? Or are we gonna get something ridiculous like Quake? That's the current question.
Yeah, I think Quake is what the runners absolutely do not want to see.
Yeah, I know I wouldn't. I'd be fine with Book, but just not Quake. And especially not Quake and Ice Rod.
So we'll see which way Hugh goes out of this portal.
Yep.
I mean, Ice Rod doesn't matter unless they found Quake.
Yeah, there's going to be either Quake, Book, or Bow out of this. Those are the three options that have to happen.
Yeah, we've done basically every fetch quest at this point.
Pretty much every fetch quest has had nothing this season. And they've all checked all of them at this point, basically. We aren't at the darkest timeline yet. We're getting close, though. There's the second item.
Well, and now the interesting question. With Ampharos doing left side immediately, Hugh could catch back up if he skips left side and it turns out there's no progression on left side.
True. It's a hard call to make. And yeah, he was heading down there. I don't think he has anywhere else to check anyways.
I thought I said there was something else Hugh hadn't checked. Oh, right. He hadn't checked Green Pendant. He hadn't gotten Green Pendant.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you'd have to be crazy at this point to do the one check on Green Pendant just to avoid Swamp.
Some people just really don't like Swamp, okay? Yeah, if left side's empty and Hugh does skip left side, then they will be actually relatively close. You're assuming he doesn't get like only Quake out of the back.
Well, we're about to find out if left side is required.
Well, there's a big key in there, so it's the more efficient way to do it.
Is that a French vanilla big key if it's on the left side but in the wrong left side chest?
Yeah, probably. Well, we don't know if this was required yet. That's 3 items, though. We're running out of choices. Not left side, then.
Okay.
There's only 2 items left, so it can't be... Well, I guess it could be Quake and Ice Rod, but...
So if Hugh resists the urge to go left side, we will have a pretty close match here.
I still, even if Ampharos finds Quake here, though, it would not surprise me for him to check Pod and AP first. Swamp is one thing, but running all the way up to Turtle Rock Bend. Oh. Then again, at this point, he might just be figuring that Q would be basically done at this point if it was an EP or pod. That's my favorite drowned chests, when it's both 2 dungeon items. Well, these next 2 are items. Is this what we want? No, it's on our RK. Oh boy.
And Hugh is skipping left side.
Okay. If it's Bo, that'll catch him up a decent amount. We'll make this a bit of a race, actually.
Right, and if it's Quake, he has to decide, do I risk Bo being on left side, or do I just assume that this is a sign that progression is in Turtle Rock?
That's a hard call to make, honestly. I could not fault him either way.
If it is both, the runners will be very close because Hugh's already gotten the big key for Eastern and has already checked shooter chest. So at 1:18:59 roughly, AmazingAmpharos is in go mode.
Freaking Argus. And yeah, you're right. He does have those pod and EP checks. Though to be fair, the big key was in the first chest for Eastern.
Yeah, so it's really just the amount of time it takes to detour to that first chest in Eastern and the amount of time it takes to check shooter room in pod.
Yep, it'll be actually, that's pretty much about the difference, honestly.
And also the amount of time to watch Kiki jumping around.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hugh finishes Swamp almost exactly a minute after Ampharos.
I was about to check and see where he went into pod, so. You beat me to it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a race on our hands here. As we were saying, they're both in go with 2 dungeons to go, and Hugh has the advantage of having checked a couple of places already. Most of EP, as well as he's already done the left side of pod here, which makes this a very close potential race here. All based on the execution of our 2 runners. I think they're actually relatively even bottle-wise. I believe they actually both only have 1 blue bottle left. Ampharos might also have a green.
But with the flute, it's a pretty quick stop at the magic shop if necessary.
Yeah.
But yes, that's like, what, 10, 15 seconds maybe, which could make a difference at this point.
I imagine both of them are relatively comfortable with what they have. Though without silvers, maybe not.
So Hugh's about, what, 3 rooms behind Ampharos at this point?
Yeah, Ampharos went upstairs at 24.
And the big key could really be anywhere in pod except in the big chest or on Helmasaur.
And 51, so he's about 25 seconds behind. So Ampharos is checking the vanilla big key chest, which is just key behind a key, so Hugh can catch up here, just from that. Okay, so there is potentially an item on the bridge here. Let's just the dungeon item.
But that means Hugh knows that he's found the 2 possible items in the front, doesn't have to check the vanilla big key chest.
Yep, this will be slightly behind at this point though, but catching up. Okay, negative on that one. He about 2 rooms behind now only. Not there. Not there. I believe Harmless Hellway has a chest, or has an item now though.
It does indeed, because there are only 2 keys in the back.
Yep. And it is the big key.
So that looked like 29 where Ampharos got the big key. Let's see where Hugh gets the big key.
$42, $43.
So less than 15 seconds separating these runners.
And that is the difference between grabbing that big key and EP.
Pretty amazing that for all the different routing, this race has turned so close.
Yep. It's going to be all down to the big key chest either way. Or the GT big key either way, I should say.
Yeah, if they take different routes there, and then otherwise it's all down to execution. Speaking of GT big key, do we know if the game's working yet?
Last I heard it wasn't, so... We can still guess, though.
Oh, certainly.
My guess will just be Rando Room as always, though.
After all the runners have been through. Oh, Rando Room, sorry. I thought you said Tile Room.
No.
No,
It's
Rando
never
Room's
in
fine.
Tile Room.
Yeah, I usually guess 10, which is the first chest in Rando Room, assuming they don't go full right.
Turtles. Hugh also bonking.
But they are facing Helmasaur at the same time.
Ampharos just finishing while Hugh just starting.
Yeah, let's see the time difference on Crystal Grab here now. Both of them had a little bit of trouble getting off the mask.
So 54. Versus 10, so about 16 seconds now.
So Hugh lost a couple of seconds on execution in there.
I'd still call execution relatively even between the two, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't know either of them well enough to know if either of them tends to be a better executor.
I know Ampharos is more the routing king than execution focused. But he's pretty solid at both, honestly. Hugh, I believe, is similar. I've seen some flashes from him as well.
So Ampharos went through that door at 46, Hugh went through that door at 52. 6-second difference.
I don't know if they actually both feel that far behind. Once you find Bo and Argus, you kind of figure that that's probably the last thing either or both your opponent did as well, or close to it. Because who full clears Swamp? Pendant Swamp.
And I guess Ampharos is opening chests that happen to be right on the way just in case they have silvers.
Yep, that's the logical thing to do. But that does let Hugh catch up a bit more.
Yeah, they are in the same room.
It's 4 seconds roughly at this point.
Ampharos coming out of the staircase as Hugh enters it. This is amazing, honestly.
Yeah, this is going to be super tight. Ooh, better room for Ampharos here, though. Ooh, but Ampharos missed the Igor. And they are basically tied going into the last
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, synchronized Armos fights.
Kind of. Differently synchronized.
Right. But slightly different techniques here. And Hugh takes the lead.
Yep.
About a 5-second lead, I'd say. And chat's going for their big key guesses. We will go off of whoever walks into GT first.
Which could be either runner, honestly. All depends on how the cabbages fall.
Right, or Hugh just needs to get deadrocked for Ampharos to retake the lead.
Looks like Hughes is going to do this route. I actually get a good indicator of which route's faster. I haven't tested this in a while. Ah, nope. Ampharos is doing this too. I think if it's not already open, this is faster.
And neither of them opened the tops, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we don't even know where Quake is. At this point, it's in GT.
A room apart and super. Ooh, Ampharos doesn't quite get the hookshot clip on the block. That's going to set him back a few seconds.
Okay, so it looks like we're basing off a few then. Almost assuredly.
So what time does Hugh enter?
29.
30. Oh, 29, 30.
Well, I did when I went to black, so fair enough. Hugh has been steadily gaining time. There's half magic. Well, there is a key right side.
So Ampharos is more than 20 seconds behind, but if he decides to go full right and the key's on the right...
That's... yep.
Hugh will not be seeing Bob today.
He did not.
But he is choosing to walk out rather than mirror out, and I've never been sure which one of those is faster, especially with boots.
I had a race lately where I got both keys on right side and I just went straight through the center. Worked out too, because there was, I think, a key in Stalfo's room.
I think I've only seen someone go through the center like once or twice.
So it is... So 7 does not have it. We're approaching 8.
There's our Quake.
Hey,
The big key's clearly in Turtle Rock.
In Key Sanity, that would actually be the case. Number 9 is another small key.
We're running out of small keys here. Well, here's our favorite room.
Number 11, number 12, and number 13.
So it's either Bob's chest, behind Isarmos, or right side.
Yep. Looks like they're both going to continue to Isarmos. Hugh missing the check. Oh, he went to get arrows. That's actually a good idea. Ampharos skipping them. But I believe there's enough arrows. There's a couple arrow chests in here as well.
Yeah, he's up to 11. He's gonna need more arrows. He's realizing he's just gonna drop down.
He might use Cane of Burn a strat.
Risky. You know, of course, where the silvers probably are, like Moldorm 2 chest.
Or like right back here. Oh, he's using sword beams.
Oh, right. He doesn't want to run out of arrows before going upstairs, and he has to defeat those mimics.
Yep. Well, there's more arrows back there. It worked out for him.
And it was on right side, so if either of our runners had gone full right, they could have taken a bit of a lead. Unless, of course, it's in tile room for all that.
Yep.
I guess 1 in 5 chance of tile room at this point, but Hugh is going to play the odds and assume it's in compass room.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. When you only have right side to check, it's hard to justify doing tile room first. Unless you really think you're behind. Which, to be fair. So this should be 19 through 22 here. Not in 19, not in 20.
That was 18 and 19.
There's the ice, or sorry, 18, 19. Oh, it's in tile room.
Oh my!
What a scene.
But hey, at least we've gotten Quake and Ice Rod in the process.
My goodness.
Willard J. Bradley, if you are watching this either now or in the future, we are thinking of you.
Well, ready to watch two players do the room here?
Ooh, Ampharos in the doorway. You don't see that too often. Yes, what's Hugh's tile lead at this point?
I don't know. I lost track.
Oh, well, there's the 22nd tile. And there's the 22nd chest.
At 136.45, we have the big chest number 23. Or 2, or whatever the last. The last one. And at 01, Ampharos gets his. So caught up actually a little bit from entering GT.
Now it really all comes down to execution.
To avoid checking all the time, I'm just going to say right when land mode is, I'm going to do the next time check. I'm sure one of our lovely chatters will be keeping track the rest of the time for. Ooh, Ampharos hung up a little bit there on the Mimic Cave.
Well, and not that the runners know that how close they are to each other, but do you do all 4 checks at the top? Because with Tempered, Silver saves you about 50 seconds on Ganon, and it certainly takes less than 50 seconds to check 4 chests.
I mean, you have to, right? It's like they're about 2 rooms away from each other in the gauntlet. Ampharos fall in the room behind, though, on that first second room. Fire Rod strats from Hugh, missing the third one.
And just as a reminder for those of you who might not be familiar with these tournaments, ties are a thing, and by tournament rules, a finish within 2 seconds of each other is considered a tie. In which case, these 2 runners would have to replay with the same settings before one would be declared the winner and the other the loser, so that the loser could then change settings for the following match.
So about 25 seconds separates them from going up the stairs there. So Ampharos didn't quite have the best gaunt. Taking the time to get the magic for Hugh, though, that might lose a little bit of time. Hugh is gonna take the time to grab these chests. It's a powder.
That can be useful for refilling against the anti-fairies in the next room.
Is that another key? Yeah, it was.
So technically the runners didn't even have to go upstairs with any keys.
Ooh, Hugh taking a fall on Moldorm, though. What a troll.
That could make the difference here. Still slightly ahead by a room.
Lost a good 15-20 seconds from it.
Okay, just needs to stab at that tail once. Down goes Moldorm. Of course, the geometry wars could also make a difference here.
Moldorm's blown up at the same time. Grabs the chest at 03, and it was not silver, so it must be in Turtle Rock. And then 08, 5 seconds are separating the 2 right now. It's gonna all come down to Ganon execution. And Aga 2.
Well, let's see how they do with Aga here.
Ooh, decent first one, but only 1 hit from Hugh. Actually, that's kind of a bad one, but... Ooh, triple from Ampharos, though.
Yeah, and did Hugh even get any in that second one?
So, Ampharos has 4, Hugh has 3 at the moment. And Ampharos is down while Hugh has 1 more shot, so Ampharos takes the lead on Aga. And there goes Hughes, though. He's not far behind.
Wow.
Super close.
Yeah, and with them needing to do 12 spin slashes.
Yep. 6 seconds now is what Ampharos' advantage is, or lead is. I guess at this point, you can call it a lead.
And the torch glitch is going to be essential, because if one of them gets it and the other doesn't, that's game.
Thank you for that useful knowledge.
I've never seen that before.
That's, yeah, I don't think I've seen that one either. Ooh, Hugh missing the double spin. Ampharos is on phase 2. There's in a good spot to one phase it though. Hugh should be able to get it as well. We didn't get there though. They're both caping. They both should be able to one round this, I think.
Yeah, Ampharos on phase 3 now.
Yep, they're both on
Hugh's
phase
on
3.
phase 3.
Both pigs are jumping. Oh my goodness. They are one jump apart at this point.
And we're about to find out where the arrows were, presumably Turtle Rock.
I guess it could be a book location as well.
That's a lot of warp scanning. Stop
Please
it.
stop, Dan. It's on one of the tablets. The best.
Or does Mimic Cave count as Light World?
Oh yeah, or Mimic Cave.
Or would that count as Death Mountain?
Okay, Arch Glitch for both of them. Do you want to count one? I'll count the other. I don't know which one. No, we'll just go with it. I
think
count.
I've already lost count. This is crazy.
I'm watching Hugh mostly at the moment, so.
Okay, I'll try to keep track of Ampharos.
Hugh has not missed one from what I can tell. I think he's at 6-ish or 8.
Yeah, Ampharos might have missed one or two at this point. He's only getting... He seems to be getting like 2 per lighting a torch, and Hugh's often getting 3.
Hugh hasn't been getting 3 most. He's been getting 2 on most of them. If not all of them. I think this is Hugh's last hit.
Well, there was Ampharos'
both
last hit.
dead.
Oh my!
Is this 2 seconds? Is this a tie?
Could well
I
be.
don't know. I wasn't counting. Okay, so 157 and 159. I think this is a tie. Let me look at
The official
the
SRL
official
times.
are a tie. That was officially 144.59 for Ampharos and 145 flat for.
So GG's to both our runners. Let's see if we can get them in here for an interview.
We are. Wait, was that? Is there not ties?
Oh,
there might not actually be ties. I'm looking.
no, there
at
is a tie. It's just that the tracker isn't able to track ties. So, our tracker.
Oh,
clicked,
okay. I'm reading it now.
on
Yeah.
Ampharos first.
Oh my
But
goodness.
it is a tie officially.
So, hi Ampharos, how are you today?
I would be better 1 second faster.
You're not kidding me. Like I was looking at both your timers and they were within 2 seconds too. So. I
Well,
think
you
missed
were actually
that
behind
one
all the way up.
spin, didn't you?
Yeah, my execution this run was not good at all. It's pretty much what happened there. It sounds like my opponent had some problems very late in the run that kind of bailed me out.
I mean, it was back and forth. You definitely seemed to be behind early. Then you were definitely ahead, but left side swamp kind of slowed you down because he skipped that.
Yeah, you guys did a lot of like he did pretty much every check. Of course, you did pretty much every check. His main advantage
call for
early
sale.
on was that he went to Zora really early. He did it after Ice Rod Cave, so he had Flute for the majority of the seed, while you didn't get it for quite a while after. And then he got Boots slightly earlier than you, honestly not a ton earlier, but slightly earlier than you. But then he also went around and did a lot of random checks. Like he did Spike Cave, he did Hera Basement. He ended up checking Eastern and Pod before Swamp as well. But going into, you guys were literally tied going into Armos nights. So it's all execution from there on, basically.
Yeah, and my bad execution was on Armos Nights twice. The second one, oh my word. I didn't pick up the 10 arrows I could have, between not getting the bonk skip of the warp and that pot in the north of the room, I went into the fight and I'm like, I don't have enough arrows for this, and I need enough for upper GT. Sword beams it is. I could have used blue cane strats, but I felt a lot more comfortable with sword beams. And
I thought you were going to, because just from all the entrance experience.
I mean, blue cane's a little faster, but sword beams are still fast-ish by non-bow standards, and sword beams are something... I've done sword beams a million times. I've done blue cane like 6 or 7 times.
Fair enough. Yeah, sword beams are still good as well. That's also true. Also, the Hugh was actually relatively slow on the Ice Armos as well, just because he was trying to make sure to not waste extra arrows. Same.
Yeah.
He got the extra 5 arrows though, so he had more to burn.
Yeah, but that happened. Then I found the 10 arrows in the room right afterward, and I was very, very frustrated at that 10 arrow pop, that 10 arrow chest, and
I mean,
my gauntlet was garbage, but I've already heard what happened. I guess he fell to Moldorm 2 and had a poor Aga 2, so I kind of got our GT execution. I guess mine was better, but concentrated in a couple places, whereas his was better throughout, it sounds like.
Wait, stick and twine, does that mean that silvers were on ped?
Oh, it totally means silvers were on pedestal. And I knew when I saw Ganon say that, silvers were either on pedestal or one of the monoliths, and neither of us found Book. I already asked. Book must have been in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, must have. Like, we were having fears of Bow being on both tablets, or tablet and GT with Book on pedestal or something.
Yeah, and like I opened all the chests in upper GT because I knew the search space for silvers was really small, and
yeah,
I mean, even Gold Sword at least would have let me breathe easier. I didn't find either of those things. I found nothing.
It's in Turtle Rock, like it always is. Cough.
I never... So the funny thing is, I would have known what Turtle Rock Medallion was, and if it's Bamos, that would have completely changed the race, because it might have changed my decisions, but I missed that bomb jump, so I routed Dark Death Mountain different.
Oh, you did. Yeah, no, it was Quake, so...
Yeah, Quake makes total sense, and Ether was probably in Turtle Rock, which, not that it does anything, but that's probably where it was.
Yeah, there's a lot of missing things for how like, I don't know what your guys' full items counts were yet, but I would assume they were in like the 180s even, maybe.
Yeah, I was 171, he was 174. It's always hard to say when you're close like that who really did more, because, you know, you leave behind random things you look at.
Yeah, like he didn't do Left Side Swamp, but you didn't do a couple chests in EP, for example.
Yeah, but like, the counter's not going to show that I did the Dig Spot or Catfish because I noped both the items, stuff like that.
Right. Which he ended up doing those anyway, so... Like, you guys routed very differently, so it just went from everything being funneled to Argus, because Argus.
Yeah, I was ready to pull the trigger on Swamp much earlier in the seed. You probably saw the moment. I was heading to Swamp, and like halfway to the Dark World portal, I'm like, no, I have the green pendant in my bag. Let's do See the Island, Hobo, Sahas. And then that was Bamos and Fire Rod, and I'm like, okay, that changes things a lot.
Yeah, I thought you were actually just going to blind do the floating island with Hobo as well, and then head up to that pod area possibly with that. So I thought you just like, no, I'll just go do Hobo and check the thing real quick. That'll be faster, and then I can flute out or something. I didn't realize you were actually heading to Swamp.
To pull the trigger on Swamp.
I mean, it's something that's like literally, because we had what? Mirror, hookshot, and hammer at like 20 minutes or something. I think you guys did something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, and like I was so like at the time I knew I was Bamos, Fire Rod, and Bow from Go mode, and like my search space wasn't great. The odds of one of those things being in Swamp seemed really high, and well, that's how it worked out. In a way, if I'd pulled the trigger on Swamp, well, it would have made me full clear Pod Eastern, but given where Pod Big Key is, that wouldn't have been much loss, and then I would have go-moded both Ice and Mire, which would have saved a lot of time.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. That was what we were looking to. So like, Ice and Mire were open, but it looked like you were trying to avoid having to clear them because just in case you found what you. While Hugh had actually gone dipped them much earlier, but then the choke was on both of you because you had to full clear them for nothing anyway.
Yeah, like, well, when I saw Bombos, I'm like, okay, Bombos is Mire access. Bombos means I can do ice. I don't need to pick it up right now. Let's finish my route. And then I saw Fire Rod. It's like, well, Moth is a free choice. There's literally no reason not to kill Moth right now.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I'll pick up Bombos. The overworld's routing is better if I do ice than Mire. And, you know, it's kind of the coin flip of Mire's better to not go mode, but ice, on the other hand, if I find the bow, it saves time on Vitreous, whereas the bow saves no time in ice. So I kind of looked at it as a toss-up. The overworld routing broke it for me. Did ice, then Mire. Didn't find a bow in either. Then I
Or
went to
on
Swamp.
Pyramid Fairy, or yeah, anywhere else.
Oh yeah, I did Pyramid Fairy before Swamp too. It was 3 items to me. I'd never checked the Pyramid Ledge.
No, fair. So how were you feeling right about when you were sitting there waiting for Tile Room to
Honestly, I was feeling real bad. How I felt about this race, I felt kind of okay for most of the race. I felt a little worried when I found Bombos and Fire Rod. I knew he probably had those much earlier. I felt pretty bad when Ice and Mire were empty, given how much I'd committed to them. I felt real bad going into Argus with still no bow. I'm like, the bow's just an Eastern and I've lost horribly. And then the bow dropped, and I actually felt pretty good about how I was doing because I considered Pendant Swamp a play my opponent was unlikely to make until last location.
Which you were correct in that.
Yeah, so I'm like, I actually thought I was just ahead, and my execution hadn't been that good throughout the run, and it wasn't that good after that point, unfortunately, which resulted in the tie, but I thought I was ahead, and when I saw Tile Room, I thought all the better. That means GT routing's not a thing.
Yeah, you were technically about a minute ahead when you finished Argus, but he had already done the left, or the whatever that chest is called, the left side of pod. The first chest.
Shooter room chest.
Shooter room chest, that's the one. Shooter room and the and most of EP, so he didn't have to get the big key out of the first chest. So between those two, he caught up pretty quickly to the point to where it just became you guys tied at Armos.
You know, this is going to sound stupid. I almost considered skipping the first chest in pod, just assuming pod was bow locked based on what I saw.
Would have been smart.
I mean, I don't know if it would have been smart. It might have been dumb and happened to work correctly, but I considered it.
Big brained. Let's go.
Well, and also you went to vanilla big key chest in pod, whereas he went to bridge chest first, found the second non-key item, realized that vanilla big key had to be a small key, and skipped that.
Oh yeah, that was the other difference.
Yeah, I mean, with the way the key pattern was in pod, I have no regrets. I think it was the optimal EV thing with my knowledge every step of the way. It just happened to play out that way.
Yeah, no, that's how the front of pod goes.
Then again, for key knowledge, you had a heads up in the back of Skull Woods, not going to the hallway chest there.
Yep, that saves some time.
Yeah, Skullwood's key logic's
weird.
I remember a couple tournaments ago, I kept trying to enlighten the world about Mire key logic. Maybe this time it'll be Skullwood's key logic, because I feel it's so often you can logically rule stuff out in Skullwoods.
Yeah, I need to go through that myself again. Like the whole, if there's a big key on Mothula, there can't be an item in the other chest.
It's actually the simplest rule in the world. The rule just is Mothula can't have or block a small key. So if you still have a small key at large with 2 checks left, then you know Moth doesn't have it. Big key's just a fetch quest. Wherever big key is, just pretend that's what the big chest is, you know?
Yep. Yeah, no, and Mire was... I've changed my routing in Mire because of the whole small key locking big... Or if there's a small key left side, it has to be big key on the vanilla location. thing.
Yeah, I even got to use the little Meyer key logic thing here because I already had map and compass. I knew the vanilla big key had to be one of Meyer's 2 items. Of course, it was at 3 bombs, but it could have been a better item.
You are correct there. Yeah, it was one of those Myers that like you really wanted to do in Go mode, with it being the big key on the spike room. And
Yeah,
the items being awful.
this seed would have heavily rewarded anyone who just bit the bullet on Pendant Swamp because, yeah, you would have Go moded Ice and Meyer, and you had the fast Meyer key layout, and you had the absolute worst Ice key layout, which...
Oh, yeah.
It's worst case scenario. There's no better way to route Ice than what I did, I don't think. It's just the one way the keys can fall that's terrible.
Yep. That was the layout where you don't even get a small key, so you can't even bomb jump off of the freezer room.
Well, but at least there was a big key in Freezor room, so you could immediately check the big chest. It's just that that then had a small key.
I mean, honestly, if the big key had been an Ice T, that would have been fine. Because if I found the 3rd item, then I wouldn't have even cared about the big key. And if I found a small key, I would have bomb jumped to Ice T.
Yep.
There was nothing I could have found in that chest that was worse than big key, because it forced me to drop, leaving Ice T behind.
And then, of course, on the items not in the big chest, you're just like, well, let's go. Was the 3rd item on Ice Tea, too?
Yeah, the juicy big 20. You gotta have it.
Big 20. Yeah, it was
Yes,
like all rupees in that.
you got all of 125 rupees from Ice Palace.
Super useful at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, that stacked really well with the 3 bombs and 10 arrows I got from Misery Meyer. Yeah, but that's just how the seed goes. The items weren't very convenient. Some of my routing decisions worked out poorly. The Smith chain really stood out to me as this could have been a lot faster.
Yeah, we were really pointing that out early on, as well as an issue of like, well, this could probably put Ampharos way behind, because we already knew at that point where the mirror was and the flute, but especially the mirror.
Yeah, the flute didn't bug me too much. I felt like every play I made, I was getting stuff on the way, but the mirror bugged me a lot, because, I mean, I did Smith Chain kind of the slow way, assuming either it would lead to mirror, in which case I'd be way ahead, or mirror would just be late, in which case, you know, it was a reasonably good play. Mirror being in Hype Cave was the worst scenario.
Yeah, that was just very unfortunate.
Yeah, that was one of the things that put Hugh ahead early, because he had gone to Uncle, gotten the glove, and so his first Dark World access was from that portal, so he checked Hype Cave as basically his first Dark World check. Yeah,
but he kind of squandered it a little bit by doing a lot of extra checks on top of it, where you did Death Mountain, got your items, been like, nah, let's not bother with Spike Cave or Hera Basement. He went back and finished Hera Basement and Spike Cave.
It's actually kind of a thing I've done a lot of times. I don't know if it's smart or stupid. I think smart, which is why I keep doing it, is when I do Hera and there's an item in the basement, I just leave it, and then I'm like, when I start getting low on checks, Hera Basement Spike Cave is a combined check I can do. It makes the overworld trek a lot more palatable, and there are 2 things that are really slow individual checks. I can combine them later and also move it way down the priority queue, which is usually better for slow checks.
Yep, I do the same thing, honestly. I forget Spike Cave exists half the time, for better or worse.
And I mean, if I'd ever found the book, which I didn't, then Ether would have comboed too, and that would have been beautiful.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, because it's one of those seeds where it's like, okay, there's a bunch of stuff, we've checked a lot of things, but there's still missing some things, like, where's the other medallions? Like, Quake, where's the book? Where's the ice throw? Like, when you were going through Swamp, we were just looking at each chest like, okay, because at that point, we'd already known everything else, so we're like, it's either Quake, book, or bow in Swamp. And then we got to every other check. It's like, well, I guess whatever it is, it's on Argus.
But yeah, I'm glad we at least had an interesting race. I'm sure the viewers really enjoyed a tie. But I think I've probably carried on too much. I can be kind of long-winded. Thanks a lot for
Fine.
commentating, guys, and thanks for the restream.
Yeah, good luck tomorrow.
Thank
So,
you.
do you want to take us out, Darcy? Go.
Yeah, just, follow these runners. They are going to have at least 3 matches now, and possibly 4 if they manage to split the next 2. The second match, which will be a replay of this one and therefore count as match 1, will be same time tomorrow, channel TBD, so keep up with the speed gaming schedule. Thank you also to OSS Geek, our tracker, who was really on top of things here. And with all the checks, that was a lot of items to keep track of. Also, please be sure to follow the Speed Gaming family of channels, Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. We also will be doing some broadcasts on ALTTP Randomizer family 1 through 5, so follow those as well if you want to keep up with the tournament. And yeah, there are a ton of matches going on today. I don't want to necessarily read them all, but the links there in chat, so do check the schedule. They are all on those speed gaming links that just went into chat there. And yeah, hope you all enjoy the rest of the tournament, and good luck to our runners when they reconvene tomorrow.
Yep, of note, there is one currently going on Speed Gaming 2. So if you want to head over there and watch some more Link to the Past, hopefully they can get you caught up over there. So, yeah. Also, make sure to give my co-commentator, Dracia. He was a wonderful co-commentator, and I had a wonderful time.
And thank you, Fredo. It was fun.
Yeah. Once again, this was a tie, the first practice round between Ampharos and imhughbliss. And they will be replaying it again tomorrow, and I hope to see everyone there. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your day.